Hi, Vanessa Barr here to talk with you about week 2 module reflection and where my head's at with this whole character building and how I see the need or the effectiveness within a classroom, school, and district. Where my head is at is yes, it is needed. I've always thought it was valuable and it is mandated in a lot of states as something that the school and the district roll out with because it is important and because research has been done to show the correlation between positive behavior and positive experience in the classroom. So let's just dive right in. I've already started and I still think it's necessary, but only if it's done in the right way. I do think that character building needs to be taught by educators who are open-minded, trained, and are aware of, their own implicit bias and cultural differences, because at the root of character education, it is all that respect, justice, civic future, and citizenship. We're teaching emotional, intellectual, moral qualities. All those things go hand in hand with each other to do our job and say we're character building. Why do I think some teachers and school districts shy away from it? It's a big, daunting task, honestly. If we say we're going to roll out with a program, I would hope that it would have effectiveness. And it is really hard to teach students new behaviors and to relearn behaviors that have already kind of been infused into their life, into their being, into who they are. So a lot of the articles, I mean, not a lot of the articles, but the videos mentioned holding your students to a higher standard and setting up class norms, having manners, toxic versus nourishment environment. All these little things start with an educator teaching at the door. And that is important, and that at the root is what character education is. It's not just curriculum. It is teaching your students how to be a better person is, in my opinion, what character education is all about. So just overall a better person, lighter, happier, more in tune with our emotions, socially, emotionally, intellectually. So with that said, we do have a very big task, and it can be embedded within the curriculum if you're mindful of it. So I do think like reflections help a lot, even small groups where you strategically place students, or even just group projects in general where students learn how to work with different people is very important. And it was a skill mentioned in like the 2021st century skills to learn in the article. So there's a lot going on at school. We have to teach the students the curriculum. In some schools, you have to teach character education. And then on top of all those things, as an educator, I know some of the skills students will need to be successful in their career after high school. So critical thinking, people management, coordination with others, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, negotiation, cognitive flexibility. So that just adds on to the list of character education, which is fine. It can be done. Like I believe that it can be done. I'm all for it. It just has to be done right, in a very positive way, because we don't want negative Nancy's teaching students how to be. I hope that doesn't sound harsh. So those are kind of some things that really resonated with me for the videos. And then also something that was kind of like, we didn't really read about it, but it was just kind of over my head, kind of like a helicopter mom, was this whole idea of like the why. And we don't really get into the why when a lot of students are like, why people like, why are we learning this? Why are we learning this? So I do think that it is so important to tell students why. But then at the same time, if we're saying we're doing these character education to do this, And it's like, well, then why do we have such a heavy police force in school settings? You know, why do we criminalize students if we are saying and trying to teach them to be kind, forgiving, and understanding? By having police inside schools, we almost reinforce that school to prison pipeline. And that is not a part of character education. So it's very confusing, the messages that we're sending to students. More on that is, how do we incorporate trauma-informed care amongst this character building? Because if we're being asked to teach with trauma-informed, we also need to teach the character building through this trauma-informed care lens as well. So how do we do that safely? And I say safely where it doesn't stir up the pot, because we only have 2 psychologists typically per school, maybe more if you have more students, but it's pretty low on how many psychologists you have. And if we're incorporating this idea of trauma-informed care, as an educator, there's things that we can't discuss, or things that students are going to get into, that we're going to have to, you know, seek somebody who's knowledgeable and somebody that can help in that aspect. So I definitely think that that's something that we have to consider. And if we're promoting mental health and mental well-being and all this, being in touch with ourselves and reflection, that's definitely something the districts and schools should think about and put more consideration and a little bit more money into, because as a whole, it all has to work together. And also, how can we continue to reinforce positive behavior and the things that we're teaching students in the classroom about character building? How do we reinforce those positive behaviors when they're just going to go back home or to their group of friends or wherever it may be, and they're going to reinforce those things that we have just kind of unlearned? So what can we do to continue to push positive creative character into our class settings and continue to develop and reinforce and kind of drive that thing home? Thanks for listening. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, thank you.